Hey. Hi everyone. Welcome back to another video. I'm Rodimus2099. So, this is the movie review of Onward. Spoiler free. Um, a lot of people have been saying that this is a middle Pixar film. I disagree with that. I will probably be doing a ranking of all Pixar movies tomorrow. Um, and I'll go more in depth, but I don't like Coco. It's not my favorite Pixar film. It's not my favorite Disney film. It's not just I don't like it. Personally, it just felt way too like footloosey, if that makes sense. How the grandma doesn't like music, and then she grows to like it, and then everyone's playing music. I was just like, that's kind of footloose like. But again, there's more to it. I didn't kind of understand all the subplots with mortality, and kind of that stuff. I just couldn't get into it. I love the animation, I just couldn't get into it. Um, but Onward. When I heard about it, I was like, oh, sweet. We got Chris Pratt and Tom Holland. This sounds cool. Um, and it just sounded cool from the beginning. Two elves looking to meet their dad. And I always thought, like, oh, maybe their dad died, but they were both kind of older, so they, like, kind of accepted it. And they weren't like, no, he died before one of them was even born. Um, which I was like, oh, wow. Um, Spoiler free. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I found all the kind of D&D jokes funny. I found all the jokes relating to magic funny. Um, I liked the whole progress of the characters. Ian went through a nice kind of growth, and then Barley went through a bigger growth. Um, and then I liked it. I liked the Manticore most. Octavian Spencer was fantastic. Um, she just played it well. Um, I like the mom. The mom actually was really good. I was like actually rooting for her. And then Officer Colt, who's their stepdad, I was like, oh my god, it is so good. Because you don't really see that with most films, talking about a parent death, which does happen, and then kind of coming to terms with, oh my god, there's a squirrel in the gutter. Oh my god. Okay, sorry. That is squirrel in a gutter. Alright, let's get back to the review. Um, but I liked everything. I liked the voice acting most. And I liked how it was kind of small. It wasn't a huge cast. What I find sometimes is kind of Pixar makes way too many characters, and then they sort of get all shrouded up, and then you don't even see the main character kind of get explored, which is kind of one of the problems with, like, Cars. Like, Cars, I was like, Cars is so good. As a kid, I loved it, and I loved Cars 3. Um, I didn't like Cars 2 as much, but, like, in it, there's so many characters in it. There's so many that sometimes it's hard to remember that it's Lightning McQueen's story. It doesn't feel like that most of the time. But since there's only, like, five-ish characters, if you include the dad, six, but otherwise just five characters. They keep it simple, they keep it straight, and it makes the whole movie better. There is cameos from other people, but honestly, it's great. I give it an A plus. Yeah, that's a pretty high rating. Now we'll get into spoiler talk on why it's an A plus. Why it was so freaking good that I rated it higher than I think I rated Avengers even. Alright, spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so let's just talk about the big elephant in the room. I thought that his dad was supposed to be dead after they both met him. No, Ian didn't meet him. Before he died. And I personally can relate to that so much. My grandpa, he was just a fantastic guy, and everyone talked about him, Poppy, and he passed away before I was even born. Um, so like I never knew him, but I hear all his stories, so I kind of know him, and like it's always one of those things. It's like if I had met him, if I had been with him on Earth, at least when I was a teenager, I would do all these things with him. I would play golf with him. I just be with him. But that couldn't happen. And then the ending, I'm not gonna spoil the ending. The ending, the way they went with it, just made me cry. I cried during this. It was a gut-wrenching story. And most people, um, I saw some reviewers who were talking about this, and they were like, I really liked it, but I didn't like it as much as I like Coco. And I'm like, yeah, you can connect to Coco. I can't. I really can't. But I can so connect to Onward to the point of where I just cried. Um, I think that's definitely a good thing with Pixar movies. You don't have to like all of them. I loved The Good Dinosaur for sort of, this might sound weird, but it had sort of a subtext of race. I'll explain in like a whole video about it, but it had kind of a subtext of race, which I liked. And I thought that was amazing. And I like finding those stuff in it. There's a subtext of distribution, racial fights and diversity in the Disney movie Zombies. I watched it only because I found out about this. The zombies move to a school, and then they aren't accepted like the other kids. They're called stuff, and then one of the zombies dates a normal girl, and bam, gets weird. It's different. People don't like it. And that is really what happened with the Black Against the School Board of Education. That's what happened. So I like that. I like that. Um, but Onward, it really touched me. And also it had great animation, to the point where the elves were really cool. I like their design being blue and having all kind of similar hair. Um, I like that Barley had a cast on. I didn't know if you noticed that he had a cast on. And then I know people are complaining, it's not like Zootopia. Zootopia, I found it cool, but I wasn't like in love with it because it kind of was just weird seeing that all the different animals together was cool. Seeing all of them together, all of them in different ways. When that giraffe got its milkshake a different way than the hamster did, I was like, oh, that's cool. But I don't need to see that for Onward. I just don't. Because after all, Onward was a fantasy realm. And most fantasy realms, they're all similar. There's not a giraffe, which has to walk on all fours, and then there's a hamster, which can walk on its 2 feet. No, they're all sort of that way. Um, I thought it was cool. I thought it was cool. But again, I'm kind of a Dungeons and Dragons nerd, so I really like some of the subtext, the subplots, the little jokes about it. And honestly, it was just funny. It was also good, and I just loved it. And I always felt like when I was talking to my friend about it, he was like, "Oh, well, that kind of sucks. The dad had a whole plan. When they're 16, they'll bring me back, and I'll be with them for a day." Um, and I go, "What if he didn't mean to do that? What if he didn't mean to do that? What if he purposely meant for them to um mess up, only bring half of him back, and then, have to go on a quest together and become better brothers? What if?" And I thought of that, and I was like, "Oh damn, I'm right." Um, like that's what I would do if I was a dad. And that's probably what I'm going to do as a dad. Expect me to come back for 24 hours only, guys. Um, and honestly, it was just a fantastic film. It got an A+ because it hit on my emotional strings, and then it also just made me laugh. There was parts where I was just laughing because I was like, okay, that was smart. And I like how you see how it kind of feels like, well, yeah, it's more about us. Like that's what I like. It doesn't have to be fantasy realm. If they made it a whole fantasy realm, people would be like, oh well, that's not really us. Um, but if you make it look like our house, well, yeah, it's us. I really like this movie. I think it was fun. I'm gonna watch it again tonight probably. Um, Onward deserves an A+. It is definitely one of the best Pixar movies I've seen. I can't wait to what's it called? Do a list of all of them tomorrow. That will be fun. And I'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye.